These 10 tips I've chosen are those I have found work the best. I've tried and tested them over many years with both clients and in my own life, and each one includes a brief note on the physiological and scientific reason why it works. A few weeks ago I heard a neuroscientist say something I found particularly helpful. To think of uncertainty and anxiety as being the two ingredients of fear, and that we can better deal with the fear if we separate them. We separate the anxiety from the uncertainty. So, first of all, address the anxiety with a physical approach. I'll elaborate on this in a minute. Then focus on what you can control. I'll also go into this further. So that we separate the two, which helps it not seem quite so overwhelming and may give you more a sense of control. So let's start with the getting physical. When we feel anxious or afraid, we release cortisol and other stress hormones, all designed to give us the strength to fight or run away, because our systems assume that the threat is physical. If we don't release these chemicals physically, they turn toxic and become a stress cycle. That's then harder and harder to get out of. Any movement helps, whether it's jumping up and down, punching a pillow, going for a brisk walk, yoga stretches, dancing, or a full-on exercise session. Even if you just stand up and walk around the room, that helps. Next is switch to excitement. Do you know that the combination of neurotransmitters or chemicals released when we're anxious or fearful is the same combination released when we're excited? It's just the levels that differ. We can transfer our emotion from anxiety to excitement through the body. When we're anxious, we tense our shoulders, right? We stoop, we hold our breath, or we become immobile. To shift into excitement, we can strengthen our posture, straighten our posture, open our chest. Let the breath go with a long exhale. Jump up and down, or just behave like an excited child, while retaining the same chemical cocktail. We now have a better or more pleasant emotion, and the anxiety the edge at least has been taken off the anxiety. Breathe. We often hear that we should take a deep breath, but different breathing techniques cause different physical responses and sensations. If we want to be calm or to let go of tension, the best breath is to extend the exhale. This is because the exhale activates the branch of the nervous system responsible for cooling and calming, whereas the in-breath activates the branch responsible for heating and energizing. So, if you're feeling anxious, start with an exhale. Then breathe in for the count of 4 and slowly out for the count of 6. Repeat this until you feel better. In for 4 counts, out for 6. This is the most effective physiological way to calm down the brain's threat system. Focus on what you can control. There are small tasks in your life that you can control. Make lists of those that you can achieve, and tick them off as you complete each task. There's nothing quite as satisfying as a list with lots of ticks on next to each task. You can control the questions you ask yourself as well, the what-ifs. The what-ifs tend to be doom and gloom in my experience. You can turn them around though, make them positive, and use humour. Humour is such a good tool and very underused. You can also control your self-care. Make a self-care list of things you can do to make yourself feel better, and then do them. Shifting your focus in this way trains the neural circuitry. It becomes easier and easier the more you use this practice of taking control of what you can and letting go of focusing on what you can't control. Then there's your mind and your imagination. You can also control your thoughts and what's going on in your imagination. Focus on things that make you happy. Print out photos of loved ones or pets or happy memories and put them in places where they catch your eye easily. That'll help you when you need to change the way you feel and focus on something positive. Make a collage of pictures that make you smile and hang it up. Adopt a meditation practice. Use guided visualizations. Both will help you manage your mind and your internal state, I promise. And the more you do them, for however short a time, the easier it gets. There are countless studies that have shown the benefits of meditation and positive visualization, benefits that include a change in the actual brain structure that support more positive and flexible thinking, and reducing the power of the negative default that is that stress response we all slip into so easily. Then write it out. Write your feelings and thoughts in a journal. Stream of consciousness with no judgment or analysis. Just write what comes to you. Get it out. Writing can be so cathartic, and it's also a release. It's a place to park those negative thoughts. Studies have shown that handwriting stimulates brain synapses, and it synchronizes the left and the right hemisphere, none of which occurs when you're typing or texting, by the way. You have to handwrite. It helps the brain's integration, which also supports insight and more big picture long-term thinking. It's just positive. It's all positive. Then talk it through. Connecting with others and talking through concerns help us feel better because connection releases the chemical oxytocin, also known as the bonding hormone. Research has shown that oxytocin is the most effective interrupter of the stress hormone cortisol. They cannot function simultaneously. It's like a traffic light. One is red, one is green. Research has also found that oxytocin is released when we feel trusted and when we trust someone. Then there's affirmations. Making positive, affirmative statements are enhanced when we say them into a mirror. Make statements that are positive and the positive opposite of your inner critic. So pay attention to what that inner critic is saying. We've all got one. I'll give you an example. If your inner critic and your inner critical voice says, "I'm not good enough," then state out loud, "I am good enough. I am good enough. I'm good enough. I'm good enough." To yourself, preferably in the mirror. It may feel strange to begin with, but with practice it'll feel more natural, and eventually, with practice, you will change your self-belief. Now, you can also do this without the mirror, but I promise you it's way more effective if you do it with the mirror. There is evidence that the brain's mirror neuron system can be trained to make new connections and eliminate negative feedback. And studies have shown that neural pathways associated with self-related processing and positive self-valuation will strengthen with affirmation statements and, of course, decrease stress. Now here's one of my favourites. Release endorphins. Dance, play music, run, eat spicy food and chocolate, have sex, enjoy yourself. you'll release endorphins. Endorphins are produced in the body and the brain and are important in times of stress as they reduce pain signals and the negative effects of stress. They also function as modulators of pleasure and boost the immune system. Meditation and massages have also been shown to stimulate the release of endorphins. Endorphins function similarly to drugs like morphine and codeine, but unlike these opiate drugs, they do not lead to addiction or dependence. Think of endorphins as your natural high, a natural painkiller. Last but not least, practice gratitude. Having a gratitude practice builds your resilience, particularly emotional resilience. Get yourself a journal, a really nice journal preferably, that you want to write in and that you designate just for appreciation and for counting your blessings. Write in it every evening, listing what you appreciate about that day. Make sure you feel the appreciation, though, don't just think it. Feeling it is like downloading the good, creating more permanent positive neural pathways. I promise you, it does permanently change the brain. Many studies have shown that those who have daily gratitude practice are less prone to depression. Most recently, studies have indicated that gratitude writing or keeping an appreciation journal results in improved health and well-being, as well as reducing aggression and enhancing empathy. And isn't that something we cannot have enough of in these times? I hope you can apply some of these tips and that they will help you get through these challenging times and any challenging times.